was a famous cellist named Pablo Casals who played well into his 70s and 80s, and he was once asked, "You've had a full career playing all the best concert halls, releasing all of these CDs and acquiring all of this fame. Why are you still practicing 6 hours a day?" And apparently he said, "Because I think I'm making progress." I completely love this quote, and I tell it to my students all the time when they are struggling. I love that response. I think there's so much wisdom packed into it, because I've come to realize in my own playing, as well as others, that there isn't an end to our path as musicians. There is no point at which you say, "Oh, I've learned all of the things, I've found out how to play with good technique, there, I did it, I'm done." In other words, there is no Mount Everest for music. There is no point at which you can say, "Oh, I climbed to the top, I reached the summit, and now I can scratch it off my bucket list." And I tell my students this all the time because it helps us in moments when we feel not good enough. We feel, "Oh my God, I spent so much time learning this, and now there's just more, and then there's more. Is there ever an end? It's like I'll never be good enough." But that is such a pessimistic way of viewing the process, the path of becoming a good musician. The optimistic way of viewing this, and the way that I really do believe it, is that the path of learning in music is never ending. There is no, Mount Everest. There is no platonic world that you reach where everything is just flawless and you've reached your ultimate form. Music is an art form, not a science. And that means that there's always more creative, clever ways to express ourselves and move ourselves or others emotionally. And my message in this video to all of you is to say, that's a good thing. It's a good thing that there's not some cold, hard science way of, learn these scales, practice it this many repetitions, play exactly for 10,000 hours, use your metronome, play these pieces, play these concerts, and then you say, I've done it. I've done the music thing. It's not that at all. It's such an infinite landscape of possibilities and potential. Because we have music dating back to so many different centuries that you could specialize in. Each bandwidth, if you can play Renaissance music, Baroque music, just Baroque music from France, just Baroque music from Italy, as I'm trying to specialize and find my way, just 19th century music, or just play in a modern band playing grunge or hard rock or you name it. Every single genre, every single instrument is so valuable and interesting that you could spend a whole life just on that one genre, and people do. And at some point you're climbing your mountain and it's inside classical music and it's not fulfilling, you can hop over to another one, and maybe blues is going to now provide you some extra meaning, and you can just keep doing this, and again, there is no end. So if you're ever struggling to find meaning in your playing, in your music, in your concerts, whatever it may be, just remember that you're not waiting for the end. You're not waiting for an arrival point where you can say, "Oh, I did it, now I can be happy." It's not that at all. Instead, you're always climbing up a mountain, but the top will never be reached. The meaning comes from acknowledging that you're farther up the mountain than you were last year, or the year before that. Seeing that progress, as Pablo Casals did well into his 80s, is meaningful. That gives us some feeling that we've done something important, something emotionally gratifying, because there's too much one could possibly learn in one lifetime. Now, if you don't know what I mean, let's take some examples. When we start, we're largely obsessed with general technique. We don't do a whole lot of music making. So beginning students, when I'm working with them, we're largely focusing on things like how to hold the guitar, what to do with your right hand, how to pluck the strings with good technique, how to make a good sound, a good tone, how to add your left hand, how to be accurate, how to read music. These, by the way, all these things I cover in my online classical guitar course. It's called Classical Guitar Pro, which is 6 hours, 53 videos. It's a whole curriculum designed to teach you what you would normally learn in the first 6 months to a year of classical guitar lessons. So if you want to learn classical guitar but are stuck, struggling reading music or struggling to learn the techniques, check out classicalguitar-pro.com to learn more. So while beginners are focused on technique and putting their fingers in the right place, reading the music, etc., we reach a point where we transcend the technique and become artists, in that we have to decide not what to play, but how should we play it. Generally what happens when you start is you're very focused on learning all of these new things that we were just talking about, like putting your fingers in the right spot, good technique, playing with the right rhythm, the right notes on the page, ready, etc. Accuracy. As we progress, we transcend the accuracy part, and we have to decide not what notes to play, but how should we play them. In other words, with feeling, with emotion. So maybe you start to put some dynamics, some volume changes in your music, a crescendo. You decide what type of sound you want to make. Is it a soft, dark sound? Is it a bright, loud sound? This is the artistry. And there are so many infinite ways of interpreting just this one phrase that I played that over your lifespan, as you mature, as you become more educated about how music works, the music theory, the history, everything together, your views will change, and therefore there's always another way to play it, another more interesting, more clever, more emotional way that comes with that maturity. And sometimes you're not ready to interpret something in such a profound way at the beginning because you're too obsessed with technique. Just getting the accuracy is enough at the beginning. This is why you can listen to 100 different good artists play the same piece I'm playing right now, and it's going to always sound a bit different, and it'll feel emotionally to the listener different as well. And not necessarily that one's good, that one's bad, that one's good. It's, oh, I like this one because it's very nostalgic sounding, but this one's so sad, and this one actually it's very impressive. And you know, they all have something different, just like our personalities. They have a different amalgamation of feelings and technique all mixing together to express something different and new. So my suggestion is to be like Pablo Casals, be a forever learner. We all should be forever learners. So I really hope you found this video useful. For a lot of my students, I think this mindset is incredibly important to adopt. If you enjoyed the video, please do subscribe and hit the bell to be notified next time I release videos like this one.
So why not this? Yeah, but in tempo, like a melody. It seems a passage. It must be a melody. Yes? Now, where you will try that. But singing.